everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So yeah, start of a new year. It's 2024, so there's quite a bit to talk about here with the Walking Dead universe. The trailer really at any point now will be out, like any day now in the next week. I've been seeing that AMC, and we're going to talk about that, but AMC has been promoting a lot of their content for the year. So you know, a lot of this started as the second 2024 started, which I figured was kind of the case. It really seemed like they were just waiting until the new year, and now that we're in 2024, you know, the Ones Who Live literally airs next month. So we're at the point now where really the show can come out, or the trailer can come out at any point now, and then they're going to be promoting a lot of stuff. There's going to be a lot of marketing with this show, so we're going to have a lot to talk about. Really, it's just, does it come out this week or next week? I don't think it's going to be any later than that, because what is that? This Sunday coming up, or at least like this Friday, I guess would be, I'm guessing the 5th, right? Yeah, I looked it up. So it's the 5th, which means that next Friday would be the 12th, and they have to have the trailer, the official trailer, come out by the 12th of January. Like, the show at that point will be so close to airing. So I do think for sure in the next week, if it's not like this week, it's going to be very early next week. Like, where it's coming out right away. So I am very excited. So definitely make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. And also, if you're interested in supporting the channel, supporting everything I do here, then make sure to hit the join button down below. I will be posting that video in the next couple of days here. I'm going to be thanking everybody that joined, and also thank you for everyone that did join. And yeah, so I guess let's get into this here. So the Ones Who Live trailer will be coming out very soon. Like, we are on the verge of this trailer coming out. Like, again, I was just kind of mentioning, it's going to be any day now. Like, I'm just thinking, you know, in terms of releasing the trailer, the show's coming out February 25th of next month, obviously February 25th, 2024, or I guess that's just this year. So February 25th, the show is coming out. You know, roughly 30 days before that, that trailer for sure is going to be out, and that's like 3 weeks from now. So a week before that, can I see it coming out? Yeah, but I feel like that's a little bit too close to the show's premiere. Like, I think that's way too close. So the week before, I think that makes sense, right? So that would be obviously next week, around January 8th to January 12th. And I think that around there makes a lot of sense. But again, they could also still release it this week as well. I do expect there to be some new stuff this week. If there is no trailer until next week, there's likely going to be some new footage. There's going to be some new promotion and all that, just in general for the show. So I am very excited to see what they're actually going to be doing here, because I've been hearing about some things that they're doing in terms of promotion, and or that they will be doing, and I don't know when this one thing is supposed to specifically happen. I don't know if it's at the end of February, or if it's going to be happening right away, or if it's going to be happening during the airing of the show, which would be for, you know, most of March. But I do think that, based off of, you know, some stuff, that I think is probably going to start happening next month. At least that's my prediction on that. So again, it is just January 1st, so this stuff, it's not going to happen immediately, but I do think, like, right away, I do think that they're going to start getting into this here a little bit here, especially because the holidays are over. You know, everybody wants to kind of go back to just a sense of normalcy. I did have, I took down my Christmas tree. I took down a bunch of stuff today. So, you know, all that stuff is kind of done. I'm kind of done with the holidays at this point. I'm just like, no, let's get back into, you know, like, I'm just waiting for spring to happen, basically. So I can't wait for the show to come out. This trailer should be out at some point here. And like I said before, they are starting to actually promote their content here for 2024. I've been seeing a lot of stuff online, just with them promoting stuff just kind of in general for these shows. And it's not just like the Ones Who Live or like Daryl Dixon. It has to do with a lot of AMC content in general, like Interview with the Vampire and all of that. Like, there is quite a bit of stuff that they will be promoting here. Based off of just sort of what I've seen on here, I will say it doesn't really seem like Dead City is going to be something that does come out this year, because like last year, you know, they announced something very similar here. And like, you know, I feel like they already have their slate of shows now coming out for this year. So I'm assuming that we're going to get The Ones Who Live airing from like February to early April, or I think it's like late March, but basically it's February to April just in general. And then we're going to get The Ones Who Live probably airing in September to October. So it's going to feel very similar to previous years of The Walking Dead, for honestly most of The Walking Dead, because The Walking Dead, before the spinoffs and before we had all these other shows, it really just aired like in the fall and then in the spring. That was really all it was. Like, if you actually really think about it, in the fall, it started in October, ended in November. They took a break for a little bit. Sometimes it was early December, but basically they take a break for a bit. And then it would start February to like April, basically, right? It would start kind of in that range. The Ones Who Live is airing the same time. I could see them pushing off Daryl Dixon to October. I think I would honestly prefer that. It does make it a little bit more exciting to watch Daryl Dixon in the fall. I think watching the show, like, I know September is kind of technically fall, but like, I don't know. I want Walking Dead content around October. It would feel so off if The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon aired in September, finished in early October, and then there was nothing else to watch for the rest of the year. Like, that would feel so off to me. So I would prefer this show to air in October, go until November, and then just kind of honestly do that. And this way we have like the summer of like what's next, I guess. Obviously, there's not going to be a lot to talk about, throughout. In April, there still will be a lot to talk about. I think we'll get the confirmation of a season 2 if there's going to be one. If there's not, it doesn't really matter. We're going to be talking all April about like, wow, that was so insane kind of thing of this show. That's my whole thing about this show too, that it's kind of insane. Like, if this is the end for Rick and Michonne, that's going to be a whole thing going into the show, is we're going to be talking about the fact that this is going to be the end for those characters. And so that's going to be really, really massive news, right? Like, that's going to be so, so big here. So I'm really interested in seeing if we are going to be getting a season 2 and just like what the whole thing is going into the show, because it's been very, very quiet. I know they're saying limited series. I get that. But again, limited series, they get like multiple seasons all the time. It happens literally all the time. It happens like a lot, right? It's not going to get 4 or 5 seasons, but getting a season 2, maybe a season 3, that makes a lot of sense. Like, there could be a 3-part, thing to this story here. So I think that going into the show, the fact that there hasn't been a lot of talk of like, this is it for Rick and Michonne, come and watch their final chapter. That's where I'm just like, I think there's still a chance for season 2. Now, they are still, they're going to be promoting it right away a lot, right? Like, I'm going based off of what has just sort of happened, but like, they're going to be promoting it quite a bit right away. So based off of what they do now, that could change quite a bit, right? Like, in the next coming weeks, the next month or so or two, they could start to talk about the fact that this is their final story. Watch Rick and Michonne's ending here to everything. And I think that in general will obviously cause a lot of hype, and people will be kind of freaking out about all of that. And obviously I have some mixed feelings on it, but I do think if they are going to end it, one thing they should do is announce it beforehand and not just have it like just airing the show and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, that's it, that's the end kind of things. I think people would be kind of like, oh wait, I was expecting more. Wait, like no season 2. But if you're going into it like, okay, this is the end, then you kind of have that expectation set going into this show, and it's going to make it a lot more exciting, I would say, just to be able to, I guess just watch the show and just sort of expect that. Because honestly, if that does end up being the case, it is going to be really insane. Every episode we watch is going to be like, it's just going to feel so insane because we're like going towards the end and like one of the characters could die. I will say, I think if it's the end and it's the end of their stories, because the characters started off separately, right? Like the show's beginning and they're not together. They've been apart for so long. I don't think it's going to end in one of their characters dying. I feel like that's a lot, unless you were going to have one of the characters go into another spinoff or something. But I don't think that's going to happen. If anything, because of what happened, if this is a 1-season thing, I think this is probably going to end with them sort of living happily ever after. That's kind of my prediction. But if it does end in a way where there's a season 2 or a season 3, then I could see one of the characters dying eventually, because I think that makes a lot of sense, right? Especially if you're giving them more seasons. They've been able to, have like a whole show basically, and I think that could be something that would be a crazy ending to everything. But obviously that's television, right? So the Ones Who Live trailer, that is going to be out very, very soon. I'm very, very excited for that. Daryl Dixon, like I said, that will be coming out this year. I do think it's probably going to be in the fall. They like to kind of like spread out the shows quite a bit. And I think this year, they could be focusing more on like less Walking Dead. Like, I do wonder if that is going to be more of a focus for them, is like less Walking Dead and then higher quality content, right? Because for a while they had so much Walking Dead content coming out that it almost felt like that was just sort of the just what was normal with everything, was that you just always had a show. I remember at one point it was like, oh, basically there was going to be 10 to 12 weeks or whatever of non-Walking Dead content throughout the entire year, which is kind of insane. So I think we're so used to that, but that really was never the case for like many years. Like I think there was like Fear the Walking Dead would sometimes air in the summers, but like, you know, people like after season 4 and 5, no one really focused on that too much anymore. So I just think that they're going back to something here that I think could work really well, because now you're having a lot of excitement. You're creating a lot of excitement overall just with the universe. And so I could see them doing for 2025, having 2 shows a year at this point, or sometimes maybe there's a 3rd show. And maybe they're just doing that right now because they want to take a break a little bit from The Walking Dead. And I think that also makes a lot of sense when you consider the fact that if you look at The Walking Dead, or I guess the release schedule last year, they took a big break after The Walking Dead ended. And it really, I mean, obviously Fear the Walking Dead aired at some point, but really in general for the main shows, it didn't air till like June, right? I think it was like mid to late June or something like that, at some point in June. And obviously they ended Daryl Dixon in the fall, then they ended Fear the Walking Dead, right? Or they never ended Daryl Dixon, but they had that season air there. So they took a big break there. I think that they don't want to put too much out there. And so I think that's why they're kind of relaxing a little bit with the content. I still think this means that there will be spinoffs, like, you know, maybe that's next year, maybe this year, this is all it's going to be. Maybe there's more announcements this year, but maybe they're just going to take a break for this year or whatever, you know, for a year or two. And then next year in 2025 is where we get an announcement of like a lot more spinoffs. But it depends, you know, they could be waiting. Because again, if The Ones Who Live is just 1 season, then the only 2 shows that they have are, it's just Daryl Dixon and Dead City. That's it. And so that's going to be the 2 shows that come out for the next couple of years. It's just literally those 2 shows. One will be in the spring, one will be in the fall, most likely. And I could definitely see them. Like at this point, I do think Dead City is going to be coming out at like early 2025. It'll probably come out at the same time as The Ones Who Live. I think The Ones Who Live is obviously it's coming out in February. So I think next February will be Dead City for that. And then Daryl Dixon season 3 will probably come out, you know, late 2025. That's kind of my guess. And then maybe after The Ones Who Live ends, if there's this huge want from the fan base, like we want this spinoff, we want this or that, then I can see them announcing something, you know, during Comic-Con, because I'm sure there's so many ideas out there that they want to do. There's probably a lot that they have planned, but it's just they got to get AMC to approve it, right? And that's just a whole other thing. So I think that they got to see how The Ones Who Live does. And this is a show that I think in general people are just really wondering about, like, is it getting a season 2? What's the excitement for the Walking Dead universe going to be after this show is over? I still think it's going to be, you know, there's going to be a lot of it. And I think specifically it's because of Daryl Dixon, because of the fact that Carol is going there, because of the variant walkers. But again, it just, there's that whole thing of like Daryl and Rick's reunion, right? Like that's going to be a thing that people are going to be asking about for a long time. So that's why, you know, just in the past, this stuff has happened a lot where it's like it seemed like everything was coming to an end and then it just never did. Like, you know, it just kind of seemed like, oh, after Carl was gone, okay, this show's coming to an end. And then after Rick was gone or announced that he was leaving and all that, it was like, okay, this show's coming to an end. And then the show just was still so exciting. And then after, you know, the main show ended, it kind of seemed like, well, I guess that's going to be it for The Walking Dead. I know they're going to have spinoffs, but they're probably not going to be as good. The spinoffs are better right now than the main show was, at least in the last couple of seasons, right? And quality wise, I feel like it's probably better than the main show was just in general, right? Like in terms of the actual, like, you know, cinematography and everything of the show. So there's a lot of things here that I think that they are, you know, I think they're showing us that, like, yeah, like the Walking Dead universe is very much alive. Like they do have a lot of plans. I actually want to do a video talking about something that I found very interesting. And this actually comes from Robert Kirkman, but I'll save that for another video. But I think he would actually be very interested in doing an adaptation of The Walking Dead, but sticking more to the comic. So yeah, I do want to get into that there. But I think that, you know, in terms of this year and stuff, I think that there's quite a bit to look forward to. I definitely am very excited overall. And I think that these are the 2 shows that we have to look forward to. Again, it's not like we're not going to have anything to talk about all summer. They're going to be filming Dead City, I'm sure, at some point very soon. There's going to be teasers and stuff like that. I could see them releasing the trailer for Dead City Season 2 at some point later this year. Like as soon as Daryl Dixon Season 2 is over, the trailer for that could air, right? There could be teasers and stuff before that. There's going to be quite a bit of stuff. There's still the trailer for Daryl Dixon Season 2. There's going to be a lot of that to look forward to throughout, you know, the summer months there. So they could release that at Comic-Con. So to me, I think that it makes a lot of sense that, yeah, this is most likely what we have, you know, to look forward to here. There could be another spinoff. There could be something else that they do announce, but as of now, this is sort of what it is. And to me, that's totally fine, because if you're going to have higher quality content like this, then I'm all for that, because that just makes it way more exciting to watch, way more entertaining. And again, because of the higher quality of just the universe in general right now, it's making me want to like collect merch and stuff. Like Dead City, you know, they announced, or at least there's like some new merch coming out there that I'm just very, very interested in now. So like that hasn't happened in a while. That honestly hasn't happened in a while. So I'm very, very excited for that. But let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know your predictions for the trailer. I do think that if I had to give a prediction, it's coming out next week. I think it's going to be early next week. I think next week, Monday or Wednesday. That's kind of my prediction, is around those 2 days, we're going to find out a bunch of news. This week, there could be like TV spots, a bunch of stuff. I noticed that they are releasing some stuff. So I think there's going to be some of that, some interviews and all that. But I think for sure next week, the trailer is going to be out. And yeah, that's just kind of, that's my prediction as of now anyway. So post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.